Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cannonbull Podcast. I am your host SaintJorge, and today we're going to be talking about the live action One Piece TV show created by Netflix that everybody's checking out, everybody's talking about. The moment it was announced, when did they announce this thing? I think it was back in 2021. I was very like, me and the boys were very like skeptical about it. We were like, what? Y'all want to make One Piece live action? Like, good luck with that. Anime adaptations, as we all know, as they are difficult to make, right? We have Dragon Ball Evolution. Oh my god, even saying it is just like making me cringe. We have Death Note and like all these cowboy fucking bebop, terrible trash, piece of trash. Like, there were like bad adaptations. Ghost in the Shell, bro. Like, that movie just was a big bomb. Scarlett Johansson tried, shame, but hey, man, that movie was just. I remember going to the movies with my friend, watching that, like, and we just were like, this was a waste of money. We wasted tickets. This was a waste of money. But we were skeptical about it because live action adaptations are not easy to make. The budget was said to be huge. They were gonna film in Cape Town, South Africa. Shout out. They were gonna film back home. And that was great. That was great. We saw like a few of the set photos of the boats. But we all wanted to see the trailer, man, and like to see what the show is going to be looking like. We got eventually pictures of like who's gonna be playing who. They definitely lucked out with the likeness of the actors, and things of that nature. Like the way the guy that played Usopp like looks, he very much like looks like Usopp. Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. So that was pretty cool. And then the trailer came, and we saw the trailer and what the show was going to be like. And it looked pretty alright. People were like, you know what, this looks pretty alright. We'd like to see more. That was more so what we were saying. With the boys, like, we would like to see more. Of this show, like, to know what's it going to be like. And eventually, the release date came, and I tuned in. Mono is still currently tuning in. He's trying to check it out. I don't know about Colonel or about Geen, but I'm done streaming it, and I was like, definitely gonna air out my thoughts about this show. And I'm not gonna lie. Once I saw the trailer and once I started to see more of the show, I started to get pretty hype. I love One Piece. Big One Piece fan. All of us at Cannonbull, we are big One Piece fans. We love the lore, we love the characters, we love what Oda has done with the story. It's such a world to get lost in. It's such a story. It's such a tale, an adventure about following your dreams, and it's just amazing. It's peak shonen. It's peak, bro. Like, this is peak. Like, bro. After DBZ, like, One Piece is like one peak ass shonen manga, and so yeah, let's talk about it, man. Without further ado, let's talk about it. Before I get into it any further, please leave a like and subscribe for more of our episodes, for more of our pop culture rants and reviews and thoughts. If you love what we do here, if you enjoy our videos, subscribe. Leave a like, support, man. Don't be a nai. And for our non-South African viewers, that just means don't be an asshole, okay? Don't be an asshole. Just subscribe and like, support the channel. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with like the characters, like of this One Piece live action. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that One Piece live action, it's alright, okay? It's not amazing. It's not wow. Because people were going on online about saying like it breaks the live action adaptation curse. Oh, we did it. Like, I'm not gonna say we didn't, but it's not amazing, right? Look, if you're a newcomer to One Piece like lore and to One Piece itself, this is a nice thing to check out. Although I'm not going to praise you and be like, no, you have to watch Netflix live action One Piece. You don't have to, okay? You don't have to. It's not amazing. It's alright. It's an alright adaptation. It's okay. There's not much to praise, and there's not much to complain about. And if you are complaining, you're mostly nitpicking. At least for me, I would mostly be nitpicking if I'm complaining, right? And with that, let's segue into the characters, right? In Iñaki Godoy, I think that's how you say his name, who plays Monkey D. Luffy. He does okay as Monkey D. Luffy. There's a few times where like he acts right, and it doesn't give very much Luffy. Luffy is very much like a character who he's very aloof and he's very into his own things. Sometimes you could flat out say Luffy does not care about stuff, right? He's not a hero. He's not a heroic person. He cares about people, but like, it's not the thing of like, oh man, I have to help this person. It's more so a thing of like, hey man, like he vibes. He dances to the beat of his own drum. Funny reference, drums of liberation. Sun God, Gear 5. Anyway, Luffy really just dances to the beat of his own drum. And that's something I guess they do kind of bring up in the Netflix TV show when Kobe tells Garp that like, listen, Luffy is a very much an individual person. He thinks for himself. He does not follow the crowd. He literally just makes his own opinions and does what he wants. But yeah, Iñaki Godoy as Luffy, he does bring in the joy. He does bring in the wackiness and goofiness of the character. But there are some times where you're like, you know what? This is definitely a live action TV show interpretation of Luffy, in the sense that, how can I put this? Like, a lot of the stuff he does is like not, like I said, not that aloof, I don't care personality. Because in real life, if somebody was like that, it only works because Luffy is a manga character or an anime character, right? It works, but like, if it's a live action interpretation, you want to add layers so that like real people can relate to Luffy and like kind of understand him. So in that aspect, like they do fail over there, and things like that. You know, Another thing I wanted to add, the whole thing of translating an Eastern comic into the Western and the global televisions and eyes of everybody really changes Luffy's character in certain aspects of sometimes he cares too much. Now remember I said that Luffy is someone that doesn't care, but he seems to care quite a bit, and I'm going to use his relationship with Garp in the Netflix TV show as an example of what I mean, right? In the manga, Garp finds Luffy's quest to become king of the pirates amusing and doesn't really try to arrest him or go after him or gun after him the way Garp does in the Netflix TV show, right? In the Netflix TV show, you know, when they try to question Luffy about his relationship to Garp, he doesn't want to talk about it and he changes the subject as if it's something he doesn't want to talk about. It's something deep. And even when he's talking to Sanji, he alludes to his relationship with Garp by telling him, don't let a stubborn old man tell you what to do with your life or how to live your life or anything about following your dreams. Now, the thing is, Luffy from the source material wouldn't really react like this. How can I say this? He wouldn't care, right? If his crew in the manga had to ask him, hey, Garp is your granddad? Yeah. You didn't tell us. No, I'm telling you now though. And then they'll be like, yeah, but Luffy, this is important information. He'll be like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm telling you now. So what? And then they'll be like, wow. Like Luffy doesn't really like care like that. And even if, Garp would be going after him the way he did, Luffy would find it amusing and funny and he wouldn't give up, no matter what Garp does. But it seems Luffy has this emotional layer, or he's, like I said, he's got layers when it comes to like him and Garp and quite a few other things, right? So it's just definitely one of those things, like, he definitely was taken from manga, from the manga, from the source material, and he was like kind of expanded to fit and for you to, like I said, relate to him as an audience member, you as a worldwide audience member watching Luffy, which is bizarre because the anime Luffy and the manga Luffy has been around the world and people do read about him and they still relate to him. Like some people relate to him in terms of like his appetite, his thirst for adventure, his want to chase his dreams and to look for adventure. It's something that Iñaki Godoy related to. So I mean, he did say in one of his one of the YouTube promotional videos that like he kind of like if it, he had to look for a way to kind of like make Luffy his own character and bring a bit of himself into Luffy. And I think that was one of the ingredients that made Luffy seem a little bit different and a bit like you tilt your head at like what you're looking at. Also, there's like one scene where the scene in the manga where where Luffy like basically fights Kobe, like he punches him back in Shellstown, so that it can appear to the Marines that Kobe's not on their side. Yeah, they don't do that in the live action adaptation. So things like that of Luffy's character, like where he just like goes so far, like he doesn't really do that much in the in the in the in the live action, but it's not bad, also seeing him use the his devil fruit powers in live action, you kind of like get to understand what Oda meant when he said that the powers are very fun, and he wanted to give Luffy as a character very fun abilities, you know. And I said this to the guys offline, and I'll say it again here on record. But like in the fight where they fight Kuro, Captain Kuro of the Black Cat Pirates, Luffy uses Gomu no Gomu no Bell, like Gum Gum Bell, and like he headbutts him, right? And when he does it, right, after headbutting Kuro, like he has a smile on his face, and everyone is smiling with him, and like for me that was like an epiphany of like, these powers are really fun to look at and fun to see him use, and I'm sure he has fun as well, you know. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That was an epiphany that I had for him, like as a as a character, and about his powers and stuff like that, you know. But uh, moving on to Zoro, how do you pronounce this actor's name? Makenyu, I think it's Makenyu, who plays Roronoa Zoro. Zoro, this I have quite a few stuff to say about Zoro, a lot more than Luffy, because Zoro's like one character that I do really like, and Zoro is someone that like he's aggro, right? He can be chill, but like he's aggro, and he's like thug. He wears a bandana when he's about to slice your head off for crying out loud. He's very thug, right? But like this Zoro, Makenyu's portrayal of Zoro is very, very aloof and relaxed. I don't care. And now, like, listen, Zoro is a I don't care type of guy, but like in the manga, Zoro's I don't care is like more pronounced. He will tell you I don't care, and like he will flash like you know, he'll flash his sword. You're like I don't care, but this one is more like I don't care, and then he walks away. Like it's very relaxed. It's very chill. There are some times that he will show attitude, but like it's not really like that much. So, and this is something I've said offline to the guys already, that like I really wished like you know Makenyo Zoro was more aggressive, and had that aggression and that that tough guy demeanor that he has in the manga and the anime. In the show, it seems more like he's pretending to be a tough guy, to hide this kid inside who's like still wounded by the death of what's her name? His childhood friend, something with a K. Zoro's childhood friend who died. Not to say that like he, I mean, even in the source material, he's still like hung up over it. He's still like it's a, he still thinks about it. But like in the anime, in the manga, in the source material, Zoro is a tough guy. He's not pretending to be a tough guy. And now going to Nami, Nami she's the most accurate out of like all characters in the entire live action, dare I say, She is the voice of reason. She's the one with the brains among the idiots. She's the big sister. She's the person with ulterior motives. She's the person with the tragic backstory and, on why she's doing what she's doing. She's aggro. She gets pissed off at Luffy's stupidity and at Zoro's, do what I want attitude. She is the most accurate out of everyone, And it's like the cast kind of galvanizes around her because like she's the most like she's acting her ass off. I'm not saying that everyone else like is not really acting their ass off, but everyone else is just like kind of like compared to her, there's stuff that they're lacking compared to Emily Rudd's Nami, right? And things of that nature. Going to Jacob Gibson as Usopp. His Usopp is pretty. You can see it's a Usopp translated for live action. Usopp in the source material is a very, 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 very cowardly person. He's very terrified. He'd rather hide. He'd rather run. Sometimes he'll be brave, but he'd rather like run. But this one is more like he does less of that, there's not much I can say about Usopp, and honestly, there's not much I can say about this whole show as a whole. Like I said, One Piece live action is all right. There's nothing much to complain about, and there's nothing much for me to praise about it. I can appreciate the fact that, like, Usopp is still the storyteller, he's still the liar. They still tell that backstory. He still has a thing with Kaya, the relationship with Kaya. Like it's still there. He still calls himself Captain Usopp the Great. He wants to become a brave warrior of the sea. He's got the slingshots. It's there. Yeah, I think he did pretty alright as Usopp. And now we're gonna go to Taz Skylar as Sanji. Um, you know, Sanji in the live action is not really the womanizer he is in the source material. And of course, this is something actually that like Mano mentioned before, like offline, that I want to bring up here. It's that Eastern comics and Eastern like anime or Eastern stuff, like they have a different sense of humor than what the West has, right? So in the West, in a comic book or a manga, it will be very funny if, for example, I don't know, a female, something happens to a female and the clothes come off, and she's hiding her, her lady parts. It's kind of funny or something of that nature. That humor for them is funny. But when you go to the West, something like that would be seen more as inappropriate, or like it will be different, right? So what obviously the people that's adapting, Matt Owens and Steve Mader, who are the showrunners of One Piece, they would maybe take something like that and they will dial it down or like make it fit and make it tasteable for a worldwide audience, for a Western audience, right? Sanji's womanizing attitude, I think, suffered that change because, Sanji is very much like a simp dog. Like he will like hot eyes running after Nami, watching her while she's in the sea, or like I don't know, like when she's maybe in a pool or something, like she comes out with a bathing suit, he's gogging at her, like he's drooling, all the stuff. But like this Sanji is more so like he's more smooth about it. You can see he's a ladies guy, like he's that bra who's always like, damn, she bad though, let me go and like chat her up and tie my luck. But he's not so like he's not a simp, you know what I'm saying? You know? For example, when they save Nami in the last episode, when they, destroy Arlong Park and defeat Arlong, Nami comes running from the place, right? From the building that Luffy's still fighting in. She's like, oh my god, you guys are okay. And she's about to like run with her arms open out to hug Zoro and Usopp. But Sanji opens up his hands and says, hey, Nami, thinking he's gonna get hugged, but he doesn't. She runs straight to Usopp and Zoro and hugs them. He kind of like, it's sort of like kind of Zoro in the source material would like either cry or like fall to his knees, and maybe you'll see the hot eyes and his eyes get broken, like it's a broken heart now. But like in the live action, he's more like a okay, wow, whatever. Like, he kind of fixes his tie and like looks to the side and puts his hands in his pocket, like, okay, wow, whatever, that just happened. More so like begrudgingly, like being like, oh, whatever, instead of like, oh no, Nami, my love, why? It's not, he doesn't do stuff like that. So I think, again, those changes in for the Western audience, But I do like Sanji. His backstory is the same. The All Blue is there. Zeph is there. Red Leg Zeph is there. They changed the fact that Don Krieg attacked the restaurant Baratier. It's not Don Krieg. As a matter of fact, Don Krieg gets like defeated by Mihawk somewhere at sea in the show, and Mihawk goes and makes trouble at the Baratier alone instead of Don Krieg also showing up. And we'll get into that. All the changes they made from live action, from the source material to live action. We'll get into that after we go to the characters. Sanji's alright. They keep the kicks and stuff of that nature. The fighting, let's use Sanji's like his kicking fighting style as a segue into like the fight choreography. Like it's very much choreographed. The fight choreography is very much choreographed. So sometimes it may seem like less authentic than it's supposed to be, given the fact that what you're adapting, it's pretty tough to like, especially with the budget that they have, like to show a guy just like mollywhopping an entire pirate crew with just like legs and doing like a spinning X kick in the air. Like it's pretty tough, right? So sometimes when Sanji will like do his kicks, it will seem fake, but like he's doing it, right? Um, so yeah, they got this hairstyle cool and everything, things of that nature. Yeah. Buggy the Clown is very much theatrical, more theatrical than his than his source material counterpart. I did not really like that much because in the source material, Buggy is very much he's still dangerous, right? You can make fun. They kept the thing that he hates the fact that like if you talk about his nose or like say something that sounds like nose, he will like snap, right? But like no matter how like Buggy can joke around or like he's very much like a pirate, you know, like he's drinking with his guys and like, you know, Nami, you part of our crew now, have a drink. In fact, take this gun and shoot that prisoner, shoot Luffy or drown him or something like that. You know, Buggy's still very much a pirate, but in this live action adaptation, he's more so like they dial to 11 the fact that he's a clown. He even like you in a circus, right? Like they in a circus because Buggy like instead of them going to Orange Town and let's you know what let's just get into like we're gonna mix and match now. We're gonna talk about like the characters and we're gonna talk about how like certain things in live action were changed from the source material, right? So like just be aware of that, guys. Um, so the Orange Town arc, right? When they meet Buggy, it's supposed to be that this is where they meet Nami, and this is where they meet Buggy, and they don't like they kind of like accidentally get into headbutting with like Buggy, right? But in the live action, Nami is met in the first episode. Basically, in Shellstown, when Luffy goes to Shellstown and meets Zoro, he also meets Nami. And they steal the map to the Grand Line together and they escape together. So the three of them are already together. And so then they get to, in the second episode, I think it's called The Man in the Straw Hat, right? Um, they kind of get ambushed by Buggy because he wants the map and he hears that they took the map. So he ambushes them and then he like wants the map. The thing is, before, cause like Buggy used this like gas to knock them out. He threw this like gas bomb over the boat that they have, and it knocked everyone out. But before Luffy could like pass out, he swallowed the map of the Grand Line and then got captured, right? So Buggy's like, where the f's the map, right? And Orange Town is still destroyed. The mayor is still there. He has a few speaking lines, but we don't go to that thing of like, you know, that whole theme of Orange Town arc of like, what's your treasure? What do you find valuable to you? And how far you're gonna go to fight for that? The dog is not even like given the spotlight it's supposed to. I forgot the dog's name, but that dog that protects the owner's like shop with his life, he's not given the spotlight. You see him, but he's not given the spotlight. The mayor is not given that spotlight either, right? And so it's like only in the end you see them like when they freed, they escape, and you see the dog and you see the mayor. The mayor thanks Luffy. You know, they don't even have that thing of like, you know, Nami's treasure, Luffy gives it to the town so they could rebuild. They don't have that. They just thank the Straw Hats and the Straw Hats leave to the next adventure, right? So that there's that change. Going back to Buggy, again, the thing of like, he has a circus, and yeah, he's now like more of a clown than he is a pirate, which I don't think that's like, personally, I did not like that. I don't know about you guys. Comment down below what you guys think about that. Were you guys fine with that? Do you guys also did not like the fact that they make that change to Buggy the Clown? Kobe. Let's get into Kobe, right? Kobe, he's still the same. He wants to join the Marines. He's the first friend that Luffy makes. He's trapped on Alvida's boat of the Alvida pirates. Also, they changed the fact that like Alvida's known to be canonically ugly, and again it's that thing of like in the East, you know, that thing would kind of be funny or that thing would be humor, but in the West it's like, yes, queen, say no to fat phobia, you beautiful the way you are, you go girl, you know, like it's different, you know. So you can't be telling like someone like Alvida that like you ugly. It's like you fat phobic. Like she's fine just the way she is. You know, so instead of like Alvida telling the pirates who is the fairest in all the seas, she taunts her fellow crewmen by saying who is the strongest in all the season they say it's you, Captain Alvida, right? So now it's a thing of strength and not beauty. Also, to be fair, the actress that plays Alvida, she's actually really pretty. If I do say so myself, I think she's really pretty. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind being trapped in her boat for a certain time.
What?
Anyway, what you call it? Then like there's the whole thing of like Zoro is after her. So, she kidnaps this crew, right? And she tells him, okay, I know you guys were sent, I know you guys had Zoro in your boat, and now we're easy because I know he's after me. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, yeah, he was on our boat. He paid for passage to another island, but like, that's all we know. And she's like, okay, but yeah, he had a list of like bounties, right? And of course, I'm number one on the list. And then the guy's like, you weren't even on this list, my bro. And then,
Damn.
and then like she just like crashed his head with her, what's that thing called that she has? The mace. I don't know that stick thing she has, man. Yeah, she broke his head with that thing. And Kobe had to like clean it up. But then yeah, like Luffy, we have the thing of him being in the battle, and then Kobe fighting the battle, and then finding Luffy. They conversate. I want to be a marine. I want to be king of the pirates. I'm gonna go to the Grand Line. The Grand Line is so dangerous. The pirates' graveyard. I don't care. It's my dream. You should come with me. Follow your dreams, Kobe. And then he's like, okay, I have to go. And then while they're trying to get the boat for Luffy to leave the ship, he's like with the oar of the boat, right? And then like he knocks something. I think he knocks the mast of the boat, and it makes a noise, so everyone wakes up. Also, you can hear like Alvida snoring very loudly. So she wakes up, and all the whole crew, and then a fight breaks out, and that's when you first see, Luffy uses rubber powers for the first time. And I do like the exchanges that they have in that scene, where what's this? Um, uh, uh, she's like, hey, where do you think you're going? And he's like, oh, I'm escaping with Kobe. He doesn't want to be with you anymore. And she's like, that's a lie. Kobe wants to be with me. He's mine. He'll always be mine. I'm like, can I be yours? Anyway,
Nigga!
so then, he's like, Kobe said you loud and like you rude and you the worst and like all those like the bad things. But it's not like in the manga where he says that like you ugly and like he doesn't say that because he asked girl. So like, he says that no, he doesn't like you, doesn't want to be you the worst and stuff like that. So like then the fight breaks out. Luffy dodges the hits with his stretchy powers, hits some people with stretchy powers. She's like, what kind of monster are you? And I like this line because Luffy smiles and he says the stretchy kind, and that was kind of funny for me. So, you know, there's that. Kobe is still the same. They do speedrun Kobe's backstory of like being trained by Garp because because he goes with Luffy to Shellstown, but then like he stays, right, and joins the Marines, and then like he enlists with Captain Morgan's division in Shellstown, and then Garp comes there to like review what had happened, how the map of the Grand Line was stolen. While being there, he questions Kobe. He finds out Axe and Morgan is corrupt. Axe and Morgan gets, I think, arrested or executed. And then Kobe and Helmeppo, Axe and Morgan's son, both get transferred to Garp's boat, his vessel, right? And throughout the season, you see Garp mentoring the two of them. Mostly Kobe, but the two of them, right? And by the end of the season, Garp tells him, okay, look, you guys have proven yourselves. Y'all want to get stronger, right? So I'm going to train you guys. Your training starts tomorrow, bright and early in the morning. And they kind of hesitant. And I like Kobe's response. It's like, no, you know what? Fine, let's do it. I want to be someone strong enough to hold my own against Luffy if we ever cross paths again. And then Helmeppo says, I want to prove that Zoro's not the only person that can wield a sword as good as he does. I want to learn better swordsmanship. And that made me excited because, like, okay, we're going to see Kobe buff up. We're going to see Kobe get some cool powers. We're going to see him be able to fight. It's going to be interesting to see Morgan Davies, the actor who plays Kobe, see him like doing more stunt coordinated scenes, It'll be very interesting to see that. So like, they kind of speed run Kobe's like backstory and like his progression throughout the show. Jumping into Garp, they kind of forced Garp into this story because like Garp doesn't really like do anything in the East Blue Saga, but like he's there now, and things of that nature. So like, I also was afraid that like they were not going to make him Luffy's grandfather, but I kind of smiled by the end of like, was it the sixth episode or the fifth, where Garp like he's on the boat chasing the Going Merry, and then Luffy like looks through the telescope and he's like, Grandpa, and then the crew was like, Grandpa, and so like I was like, hey, they kept that easy, they related, you know, but again, they changed the relationship between them, I think also for the sake of like being live action, being a new medium, and being for the West, because in the source material, Garp finds Luffy's exploits as a pirate and his desire to be a pirate amusing, right? But in the live action, Garp like kind of doesn't find it amusing. He's been trying to train Luffy to be a marine ever since he was a boy, but Luffy refused, saying he's always been a pirate. And so it's always been this thing of like he doesn't support his grandson's dreams and is trying to bring him in to teach him a lesson. But by the last episode, Garp and Luffy fight. Obviously, Luffy gets mollywopped. But by the end, after Luffy refuses to yield and tells his grandfather, listen, I've always been a pirate. There's nothing you can do that's going to change my mind. And then, you know, Garp laughs, you know, because he kind of looks at Luffy's smile and it reminds him of Gold Roger's smile before he was executed. And so he laughs and is like, you know what, this was a test to check if you really were as resolved, like if you were really into your dream as you said you were, you know. And Luffy was like, you couldn't you have gone like easier on me, because like you were really hard on me, bro. And then Garp's like, nah, but like stay knowing you're on your own now, okay? I'm not gonna be like chasing you around or like bailing you. You're on your own now, bro. Know what I mean? So yeah, and things of that nature. So like that was kind of also changed in terms of the story. The One Piece moments are all there, you know, Luffy putting the hat on Nami, you know. Oh, that scene, I have to tell you guys, that scene was 1-to-1, man. Like, Nami stabbing. I thought they were gonna cut it out because maybe it was gonna be too gruesome for like the audience for Netflix. But like, bro, like Nami was stabbing the tattoo. Luffy stopped her. She told him, "I told you to leave." He said, "I know." She said, "Luffy, help me." He said, "Of course I will." He put the hat on her head, bro. The exact same way that Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp were sitting in the manga waiting for Luffy is the exact same way they were sitting in the live action. And then like, you know, like in anime when someone says let's do it and everyone says right, like in this weird way, they did the same thing in the live action. Luffy said let's go and they all said right at the same time, like it was a freaking anime come to life. And it's moments like that in the live action TV show that like make you smile and make you want to keep going, keep watching. You're like, oh man, this is something that I really like from the manga, something I really like from the anime, and they have it in live action, so it's pretty cool. You know, a lot of things are like 1-to-1. Not everything is 1-to-1, but quite a few things, right? So that like is something that as a fan you will smile about, you know. So yeah, like quite a few things. Like for example, the cast off ceremony with the battle, they did that in the last episode when that's supposed to be something for like the last arc of the East Blue Saga before after they leave Log Town, after they fight Smoker, after Luffy almost gets executed. Which I think will happen probably in season 2, because I think season 2 they're probably gonna adapt the back half of the East Blue Saga and then jump straight into Arabasta. Which, speaking of, right? What's this people name? Baroque Works. Baroque Works is like sprinkled throughout the entire season. Mr. Seven tries to recruit Zoro in the first episode, but Zoro like kills him and denies the invitation to join Baroque Works. So it's like, and also like the symbol of their card is like on Garp's table, and his assistant says, "On we're chasing Baroque Works," but then that's when Garp like says, "No, we're gonna chase this guy in the straw hat." You know, your first foreshadow to you asking yourself, why is he so obsessed with Monkey D. Luffy? You know, so they did that. You know, another, I guess, change or set up for what comes afterwards, you know, and things of that nature. Who else is in the show? Shanks, man, like Shanks is very like, he's alright, man. Like, there's nothing I can really like. If I had to nitpick, complain about him, it's more so that like he's not really as charismatic as I thought he would be, you know. So there's that. Dracula Mihawk is the same, but he's not much. He doesn't have enough give no fucks energy. You know, like Mihawk is so like there's one line he has with like Don Krieg when he's decimating Don Krieg like somewhere in the I don't know where he is, but like he's somewhere at sea, right? And then like Don Krieg's like, bro, why are you attacking my ship? And he's like, well, you disturbed my nap. Now that's very Mihawk, but like there's lots of things that like you look and you're like, okay, Mihawk is kind of like too instead of him being portrayed as a very chilled and relaxed, I don't give a fuck guy, he's more portrayed as a like I have a stick up my ass guy, you know, like because even when he goes to Shanks at the end of the season, Shanks he brings Shanks Luffy's wanted poster. And Shanks is ecstatic. He's like, hey, look, it's Luffy, guys. He did it. He got his wanted poster. Hey, man, I know I got a hangover, but let's drink again, you know? And, like, he's like, yo, Mihawk, like, get a bottle, bro. Let's sape. Let's drink. And then Mihawk's like, no, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink. And then Shanks like, bro, lighten up. Just grab a drink. Whereas I think Mihawk from the manga would be like, I guess one drink won't hurt, I suppose, you know? But that's only something Mihawk says after he's insisted to have a drink. So it's like things like that, you know, that, you know, you can nitpick and kind of complain about in terms of the show. Let's get into Arlong. Arlong, I loved him. He's the same. He is still the thug, the raw, the gangster, the OG, the kingpin. He's still that guy, you know. He has like trap beats playing whenever he shows up, which like I was laughing with like my friends. I was like, guys, is this not racially motivated? Why are they playing trap beats for like and like look, that's a bizarre thing to say because All Along is a fish man. He doesn't have a race, right? But the actor is black, so it's like I just it's a weird thing I kind of connected there. But yeah, I liked All Along. I liked him as a villain in the show. They kept him kind of 1-to-1. All Along Park was 1-to-1. The fight between him and Luffy was 1-to-1. Very exciting to watch in live action. Goddamn. Gomu no Gomu no Gatling was cool to see live action. Gomu no Gomu no X was cool to see in live action when Luffy's foot like shoots out the roof. Like, bro, they kept that 1-to-1. That was so cool to see. So whenever like live action One Piece does the 1-to-1 stuff, like adapts the source material like straight, that's when the show really shines. That's when the show you look at that and you're like, that's the show I like. That's the manga that I like, you know? And it's bizarre because IGN, very weird people, made an article giving the show a 6 out of 10, saying that like the show is when the show tries to adapt events 1-to-1, that's where it fails. But when it tries to break new ground and deviate from the source material, that's when it excels. So it's like, so the thing that a live action adaptation of an anime shouldn't do is what you think makes it great. Right. This is the same people that give Cowboy Bebop garbage a 9 out of 10. Not gonna rely on them for any more reviews, right? Keep it here, guys. Keep it here. Cannonbull Podcast. We got you covered. So, yeah. You know, whenever live action One Piece tries to adapt things 1-to-1, that's when it shines, man. Like, you know, Luffy giving the hat, Luffy fighting all along. What else? The casting off ceremony, the making of the Jolly Roger, you know, all those things, right? When they adapted 1-to-1, it's very much Kino content, right? And I hope that in the next season they learn from like all of this. They learn from all of the feedback in the show. Because look, we have something here. Okay, we have something here. There's not much to complain about, and there's not much for you. There's not much for you to hate on, and there's not much for you to praise. So like we have the ability to either go up, we have the ability to go upper or to go downer. You know, so I hope that they take the criticism that like everyone's giving online, you know, the good ones, right? Because most people online are just praising the fuck out of One Piece and being like, it's the second coming of Christ. Guys, be honest, okay? Don't be that person that like, because of one like decent or like subpar thing compared to the garbage, now you want to be like it's the best thing ever. No, bro, like be honest and say that like, listen, it's all right, but like we can do better. There's a template here, you know. It's the same thing with the Batman, right? It's not amazing and it's not bad. It's all right. It's good. We have a template here. We can make this better. And I think it's the same thing with live action One Piece, right? I hope they take the feedback and I hope they adapt the Arabasta saga more one to one than they did with the East Blue saga. Keep more things one to one. Advise the actors to read a bit more and try to bring in a little bit of that essence of the characters into the next season. I doubt they'll do that because, actors like to, especially in the West, actors like to put a little bit of themselves into a role. So this is very much now their version of e.g. Luffy, their version of e.g. Sanji. So, this is what they're gonna go with for now on. But hey, if we can't change that, let's at least do that with the story, and things of that nature. So yeah, I'm not gonna keep this too long. I wanna make this pretty short. Closing thoughts. Like I said before, live action One Piece is alright. I'm not saying run to Netflix. I'm not saying get a subscription and go watch it. It's always gonna be there. Check it out in your own time. It's a good like little entrance for someone who has never seen the manga or the anime. Everything is pretty much like most things are pretty much the same. There'll be some differences here and there. So if you're gonna talk to someone who has watched the anime and read the manga, you will kind of like, you guys will like they'll be, oh hey, for example, you live action watcher, and then like you'll be like, hey man, I like when Don Krieg was like decimated by Dracula Mihawk somewhere at sea, and then me as a manga reader will be like, what are you talking about? Don Krieg like went to go attack Baratie, and then like it's a whole thing. So yeah, Ian McShane was like the narrator. That was pretty cool. That was actually really cool. Like they got Ian McShane to direct, narrate the show. I'm seeing online lots of people have like, not lots of people. Okay, there was one person that like had a thing about Nojiko being black. If anyone else like has this problem, I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. I don't really care if Nojiko was purple or blue. You know, they got her down okay as a character. She's Nami's sister. She's got a chip on her shoulder with Nami. They kissed and made up by the end. She's got that funny tattoo thing, and she's got the blue hair. And she ate oranges when she was a kid. So we got that. We got that. So yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here and everything. Yeah. Comment your guys' thoughts down below if you've seen Netflix live action One Piece. What are your thoughts? What do you think about it? Comment down below what you want to see in the next season of One Piece on Netflix. What are you most excited to see? I might make a video talking about either theories or like things that we could see next season or things that I'm excited about, and yeah, we're gonna do that. But like, if you've enjoyed so far, guys, again, we would appreciate your support. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, keep it here. We always be updating you guys and like, fill you guys in on like the latest pop culture and movie, video game, anime, manga content, comic book content, and things of that nature. So yeah, I've been your host, SaintJorge, guys. Always do you and always look good doing it. Follow your dreams, right? With the wind in your back and your sails out and your Jolly Roger waving proud. And yeah, I'll see you fellow members of the Straw Hat crew in the next video. Goodbye.